So this is going to be a video on proximity guard. You might be asking, well, what the fuck is proximity guard? Well, let's show you. I'm going to block, and my opponent's going to whiff crouching light punch, then stand medium punch, and then do a crouching medium kick. As you can see there, the standing medium punch forced me into a block stun animation. Now if I take a step forward, the crouching light punch also puts me in one of these situations, as you can see here. So both the crouching light punch and then the standing medium punch force you into a situation where you are forced into block. And then they can do something else afterward of their choice. So, in Japan, Nuki was doing a setup on me, which I still have to this day not been able to replicate the exact spacing of it. But the basic concept is he would do something, force himself into the situation where a standing medium punch would whiff over me at a distance where if I tried to jump at all, if I tried to throw, if I tried to do anything, I would get hit by crouching medium kick into super. So in order to showcase this, I have to do this one setup and react a little bit slow. Because if you're reacting at the proper timing and the setup isn't correct, then you'll obviously be able to get out with a jump. So here we go. As you can see there, the standing medium punch comes out, and as soon as I'm out of block stun, if I try to jump forward, I get hit. If I try to throw, she's obviously going to be too far away. And if I try to throw when she's up close, the crouching medium kick also hits me. So if you can react to the sound, you can jump out. I'm not sure if this is the case with the proper spacing or not. But with this particular setup, like the one single jab into it, then that is completely the case. But depending on her spacing, you may or may not be able to do this. And it also requires instant reactions. So you have to be almost at Adderall levels of paying attention to get out of this sort of a setup. Now, if you jump instead, Chun-Li also has other options. Oops. Let's record. Now, if I try to jump out, the standing light punch is going to hit me. So this is why this set, even if you can react at the correct timing, you don't know that she's going to go for a crouching medium kick. So if you jump, you're just going to get hit. Same thing happens for some of the other situations that she can have occur. Which would be like if you are close enough when she does this, she'll get close standing heavy kick, right? So depending on when you jump, and this is obviously mistimed because I hit my opponent, you'll get hit by the close standing heavy kick. Well, what happens if you stay on the ground, right? She gets Kara throw. So this one particular setup allows her to deal with a lot of your choices just by knowing that you are in proximity guard and unable to do something immediately after this. The only way that you can beat some of the things that she has after the blocked standing or the proximity guarded standing medium punch, is to literally do your fastest normal. And to try to interrupt their next choice. Which, if it's throw, this can be something that you can interrupt. But if it's not, it can be a little bit harder. So with the crouching medium kick, you can definitely interrupt this with Yun's crouching light punch. But if I tried, or light kick, if I try to do standing light kick, in some situations, I'm just going to get beat. So you have to make a guess that Chun-Li is going to do something like crouching light kick, or medium kick. And if she does like crouch jab, I believe that should win. Okay, so. Yep, so her jab beats my crouching light kick. So you have to understand what she wants to do afterward. She can also tick with crouching light kick. Where her crouching light kick will also beat mine. Or trade. So you have to be timing perfect to trade, and you'll get beat any other situation. You will never beat her clean. So with Yun's buttons being relatively fast, this also will work against any other character as Chun-Li. So how does this apply to Yun? Well, let's record Chun-Li blocking for about 15 seconds or so. So basically, this is a use in Ganejin. Now, the reason why this is strong is because it keeps your opponent forced to the ground. And most people are not going to try to high block in the middle of your Ganejin unless you're going for overheads a lot. So, when they see close standing light punch, as you can see, this is not actually connecting against to Chun. But she's forced to block. So this inside of Ganejin is very strong. It gives you easy access to Zempo tension, and it also gives you easy access to a high-low mix-up. Now, you can go high immediately after this with Daipon loop. You can also go high immediately after this with a micro-step standing medium kick. And this will also put them into proximity guard. So, depending on your spacing, it may or may not be a good choice. Now, after something like this, you're too far away, right? So you can use Kara's. So let's say that your opponent thinks you're going to be doing Daipon loop. You can also do Kara standing light punch at certain ranges. And it'll whiff over them if they're blocking. And it will give you the opportunity to do a couple different things. You can do crouching light kick. You can do crouching medium kick. You can also just go for overhead. Now, the one thing about this is that once they're in proximity guard for the standing light punch, you can force the overhead. Because the overhead will combo like 60% +% of the time. And that should have been a combo. But it's also very character specific. Right? So that would be your normal setup. Obviously, Zeppo Tension. So if you do crouching medium punch, crouching medium kick, Kara standing light punch, then you should be in range for universal overhead. Should. I haven't tested this. Okay. So you actually have to recovery cancel with back. Which is kind of difficult, but there we go. Show that one more time. So it makes it really easy to go for overhead setups as well. Now, if they think that you're going to go for overhead, well, then you open them up to crouching light kick. Right? Or crouching medium kick, which you can immediately go into forward fierce or shoulder. Or you can go right back into your normal Ganesian pressure. And go for, you know, command throw or whatever it is that you want to go for. Now, when you continue with this sort of situation, it's good to know all of your options, right? So if your opponent thinks that you're going to be going for overheads, you can still go for forward medium kick. And you can still go for slight micro step into standing medium kick. Now, depending on their body type, the micro step into standing medium kick will hit their core. Will hit them. You might have to take a full step, not just a micro step, in order to get it to hit against smaller body types. So, yeah, basically it's against characters that will block this while they are on the ground. But characters that will not block that are pretty much going to be Hugo, Alex, and larger characters. So, like, it's difficult to do on Urien, and it's difficult to do on Remy. And the reason for this is because Remy and Urien, when you try to do the Kara part, the standing medium punch, I will actually showcase this because it's a little bit easier. So let's have him block just like the other one. So after the same setup, the far standing medium punch actually connects against Urien. See? So although this setup does work on Urien, at this distance, you cannot do the Kara variation. Unless you are far enough away. So like you can see there, you can adapt it and do crouching medium punch, medium kick, crouching medium kick again. And as long as you take a micro step forward before you do your Kara, then they'll go into proximity guard. So against Urien, you could do the Keeper Jin, basically. and then go for the Kara standing light punch. But against other characters, you have the same sort of issue. So this is Necro, Alex, Remy, and Hugo. Now you have a similar situation with Elena, where the medium punch that you're doing for the Kara is going to get blocked because of her hitbox. Now, this is very spacing dependent, but you can get it to work on her by doing slight variations in timing, or by recovery canceling backward in a situation where you might not have to recovery cancel. And if you don't know what recovery canceling is, I have an entire video on that. But this definitely does not work on Hugo, and it also does not work on Necro. So I'll showcase what that looks like, just so that you get an understanding. So I'm far enough away where he's not blocking, and you have to be at a very, very, very specific spacing for him to proximity guard with standing light punch. Because a single micro step forward more than this, and he'll get hit by it. Also, he gets hit really far away with your standing medium punch. So this makes doing Kara standing medium punch basically impossible against him. Or standing light punch. That will force you into a proximity guard situation. And if you do the standing light kick Kara instead of the standing light punch, oops, the standing light kick is going to connect anyway. But you can see proximity guard works with standing light kick as well. So this works on your opponent's, wake up as well, where you're whiffing just outside their ability to be hit, but they are blocking. If they're neutral, just holding down, this situation will not occur. But if they're blocking, then they get hit, They're forced to block this. And as you can see, it's very difficult for Necro. He has to be at a very specific point in his crouch animation. And you also have to be at a very specific range, which is slightly to the right of your innermost win on either side if the opponent's cornered. If you take a micro step forward at that point, then, they're not going to be able to have this happen. Same thing with Alex. But Alex doesn't have any wiggle room because of his hitbox, or his hurtbox. Same thing with Dudley. So Dudley, Hugo, Necro, Alex, Remy are very difficult, with Urien having difficulty because of the standing medium punch for the Kara, though you can adapt it. Same thing with Elena. Every other character is completely possible on. So the twins, all the Shotos, Oro, Ibuki, Makoto, Chun-Li. It even works on Q. which you might not think it would, and you would think it would work on Remy instead, but it does not. Q's hurt box when he is crouching is actually very low. And I'm very close to him, and this is still whiffing. Almost like right in front of his face. Or in his face, I should say. But you can still do it against him. So, yeah, it is possible to do against Q. And that's going to cover it. So hopefully this has been informative. And thanks to Lloyd, basically, for being the only person I've ever seen do this. I know some other players in Japan do it sometimes, but he's the only one that I know that does it relatively consistently. So hopefully this gives you some information on how this particular setup works.